Hey guys, welcome to our butter lamb class. I am very excited to do this with you guys. We're going to go ahead and get started in about 5 minutes or so. I want to give everybody time to jump on. I know usually when a class starts right on the hour, when it's me at least, folks are joining in at least 2 to 3 minutes after. So we are going to go ahead and get started in 1 minute here. And I'm going to actually just look over here and pull up my directions. I only do this once a year, so I want to make sure that I remember how to do it too. So let's see here. Make sure this is working. Okay. All right, so if you guys are like me, you went grocery shopping, and butter is probably one of the harder things to come by right now. So all I can find was this giant block of butter, but that's okay. We're gonna make this work. Actually, it's unsalted butter too. I have never cooked with unsalted butter. Have you guys? I don't know why you would buy unsalted butter. I don't know. I like salt. Salt's good for you. I think it is. So if you have a big block of butter, that's totally okay. You're just going to take your block and you're going to cut it into quarters. I cheated. I cut mine in quarters already because I didn't want to have you watch me struggle to do this. So you'll see I basically just chopped into one big half piece. So this is what we're going to work with today. So if you guys have your plate, you need a plate and you need 2 sticks of butter. So I'm going to slice this one in half here. And again, if you've got a big block, that's totally fine. You're just going to trim it up. One thing we have found over the years with these cute little butter lambs is butter comes in these long sticks like this, these long thin ones. It also comes in the sticks that are a little bit, like shorter and squattier and fatter. Those actually make cuter lambs. So if you've got these long skinny ones like I do, what we're going to do is we're actually just going to trim it up a little bit, okay? So you're going to trim maybe, I don't know, say an inch off. So you can take that off. So you want it to be, kind of like a little short, squattier lamb. They just look cuter. Otherwise, they look like they're kind of long and skinny and not very healthy. So we'll start with this. I think if you are live, pop a question in there. Oh, good. Okay, I can see some people popping in. Good. If you have questions, please feel free to ask as we go along, and we can make this together. So you've got your first stick of butter. You're just going to stick that one down. Your second stick, you're going to cut. We're going to make the head. So from your second stick, you're going to cut probably 1/3 of it off to make a little lamb head. So that'll be this guy here. So you can see I've got my little lamb. You're going to stick his little head on like so. Butter's nice because it'll stick together. If you guys have ever taken pottery classes, hi Teresa. If you've ever taken a pottery class, you can see this is kind of like pottery. It's going to melt and rub with the heat of your hands. So I like to just kind of take them now and just kind of push them together a little bit. You can see how when I push that together, it just kind of mushes up and that'll just kind of hold it in place. It doesn't need to be clean because this whole little person here, this whole little lamb is going to get covered with fur. It's going to be super, super cute. So basically just smooth that neck out. And you should end up with something that looks a little bit like this. I should have gotten a towel. I'm already greasy. This is good for your hands. And so your little lamb should be kind of like the letter L. Again, I like mine a little shorter and squattier, so I'm going to trim a little bit more off mine. Let's see here. I'm going to make mine probably about that size. So you should see it should almost be the size of your head should almost be the size of your body, if that makes sense. Good so far? So it's the easy part. Okay. The next thing you guys want to do is we're going to work on making, it's not a beak. What do you call that part on a lamb? Their little mouth. It has a name. I know it's not a beak. That's for ducks. But I'm going to call it his mouth. We're going to work on that little muzzle part. So you are going to so you should have a pretty decent size stick left, right? Because this is your second stick now. You're going to take this piece and you're going to trim off a piece that's probably about 1/4 of an inch thick. And I'll show you that here. If you guys can see this. Can you see what I'm doing? I hope you can see what I'm doing. So here's your 1/4 inch. So it's about this size. So you've got your little 1/4 inch stick of butter here, and you're gonna take that, you can still see what I'm doing here, you're gonna cut that in half again. So you're gonna end up with 2 triangles. You can just put 1 triangle aside for now. Your other triangle is going to become his little muzzle. So you can just trim it up a little bit. I'm gonna make mine, you want it to kind of fit right on the front. So I'll show you here. This is my little lamb. You're gonna put his little mouth right about there. And so you'll see I've trimmed the sides of my triangle up so that way it fits right on his mouth there. Okay, and I'll give you guys a second to do that too. And again, think back to your high school, your college pottery classes. Scoring works really good. If you kind of go like this on your butter, it'll make it a little bit choppy. Oh yes, Kathy, we can slow down for sure. You know, I've done this a lot of times. So what we'll do is I'll stick his little mouth on and I'll give you guys a few minutes. We'll give you a full minute to catch up here, okay? Let's see here. I feel like I should have some good music playing in the background. You know, I'm always nervous doing these live anymore because with the Wi-Fi, you know, we live in an old neighborhood and our Wi-Fi isn't, it's not as good as it used to be with everyone streaming. One thing you can do while we're giving you guys a chance to catch up, you'll see if you take little bits of butter, you can mush it around in your fingers and make it nice and soft because it's starting to melt. That works really good as like glue. So you can even pad some glue underneath to hold his little bill on. And kind of stick some under there, and that'll help really secure him in place. The nice thing is when you guys are done here, you're going to pop him in the fridge, and all this is going to harden into one piece. So you can see where I put that little bit of glue underneath. It's really holding it on there pretty tight. Okay, Becca, to catch you up, what we did so far is we've taken 1 stick of butter and we've cut it in half to make the base of our body. We took the other stick of butter and we cut off probably like a 1 inch chunk of it and made that our head. And then we took a 1/4 inch piece from there, cut it in half to make a little triangle, and we made that on his beak. I put a link for what this is worth. I put a link in the instructions or in the video itself. So you guys can click on that and then that'll take you to my website. And then there's a picture tutorial on there too. So you can always use that to stay caught up. Okay, so hopefully you guys all have your little beaks on. Muzzles, seriously, if you know what that is called, let me know. I feel bad calling it his muzzle. I'm sure there's a better term for that. Okay, so we got our little beaks on. Okay, so now you have your other triangle, right? You're gonna take this and you're gonna make ears out of this. So to make the little ears, you're gonna cut right here in half. And then you're gonna cut again here, okay? So we'll snip this piece off like that. So now you have the bottom of your triangle, okay? And you're gonna cut that piece in half one more time. And you have 2 little tiny perfect ears for your lamb, okay? So here's your little lamb guy. And again, I'm just gonna kind of use my fingernail on these. You're gonna just stick them on the side. And again, just use your butter to mush them together. My lamb's ears are kind of long. I'm gonna trim them up a little bit. This is where it's just user discretion. We'll make them a little bit shorter there. There we go. That looks a little bit better. Okay, so there's 1 ear. Here's the other. How fun is this? I love working with this. I'm gonna turn him around just so I can see what I'm doing here. Okay, you guys doing okay? I'd have you give me a thumbs up, but I don't want you to get your phones all greasy. Okay. So right now, all I'm doing is I'm just kind of, molding the butter a little bit, just trying to make sure that my ears are kind of secure on there, and I'm just smoothing them out with my finger. Just trying to take away some of the bumps and just smooth his ears out so they look a little cleaner. You can see, here's what we've got so far. So hopefully your little lamb looks a little like mine. Mine looks like he's got a little dent in his head. That's okay. It's a rough day for all of us. His beak's a little crooked too. So I'll see if I can adjust that here. Again, what's nice is you can just, either because it is so soft, you can just keep modeling it and moving it and kind of doing whatever you need with it. Okay, so you've got your little lamb, and he's got his little ears. Okay, so now comes the greasy fun part. We do not have a garlic press, but if you have a garlic press, that is a really, really, really easy way to make your curls. So what you can do is you can just take chunks of your butter, just like this, and you're gonna drop it in your garlic. Oh, yay, there's the thumbs up. Perfect. You're gonna take chunks of your butter and you're gonna put it in your garlic press, and then you're just gonna squeeze the garlic press. And what it's gonna do is it's gonna force that butter out through the top of your garlic press. You can then take your knife and just pull the butter off your garlic press and stick it right on your lamb, okay? That's definitely one alternative. And you're gonna come up with this really fuzzy, fluffy looking lamb. Like I said, we don't have a garlic press. I tend to buy my garlic already pressed from Costco in that giant tub. It's just easier. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna make our butter curls, okay? So you have now, like I said, all I can buy was this giant block of butter because that was all that's in the stores right now. You're now gonna make your curls, and you're gonna do that. You're gonna take your knife, and you're basically, this is why, I said you want really cold butter, because your hands are gonna get sticky and it's a lot harder to work with when it's wet. So you're basically gonna take a little piece like this. You can see this is almost as thin as my knife is. You can see there's the side of the knife and then there's the butter. And you're gonna pull it off, okay? And then you're just gonna kind of curl it. And you're gonna say, wait, that looks gross and chunky and it doesn't look right. It does. By the time you pop all these on here, it's gonna look amazing. So you're just gonna start sticking them on. And this is the family fun part. So everybody can get involved. If you've got all your kids there, everybody can go ahead and just start making some little curls for your little lamb. And I tried to convince my son to make one of these with me, and he was like, Mom, I don't like being greasy. And so much for that one. Family traditions are only as good as the dirt in them. I also like to take, so when you sometimes will have little bits and pieces of things left, honestly, you can take those little bits, like these are just little trimmings I had, and you can stick those on there. And you'll see if I put these little trimmings on, these are just like little bits I had. See how they're sitting on top, and you don't even notice them anymore. They've just blended right in. So we're gonna keep making some curls here. So I'll share a little bit with you guys while we do this. This is actually an Eastern European tradition. I'm almost completely Polish. I actually did that Ancestry and Me survey, and I came out to be 99% Polish. And so my grandparents emigrated from Poland. Their parents did, actually, say that correctly. And so a lot of the traditions we have, almost all the traditions we have around holidays. Oh, yay, Kathy, I'm glad you guys are enjoying this. Almost all the traditions we have are all Polish. And I don't speak Polish. I don't speak it at all, actually. I speak Polish food. A lot of the foods we make still are the traditional foods. Like last night, we made this really, really yummy mushroom soup with seppies, which are just this delicious mushroom. And so that's kind of our Good Friday tradition. We also had halushki for lunch, and that's also using butter. There's a lot of butter and cabbage in Polish food. So we made, you just you brown the butter, and then you put egg noodles in there with a little bit of salt, a little bit of onions. And oh my gosh, we ate a whole head of cabbage the three of us did, in minutes. It was just delicious. How are you guys' lambs coming out? Yay, Kim! I did not know. I figured with your last name, but I knew it was a husband's name, so I wasn't sure how Polish you guys were too. Yeah, I love it. We will definitely have to compare some notes on all of our fun traditions. Again, I don't speak any Polish. I'm taking Spanish classes. I've been taking Spanish classes for years now in an attempt to learn it. And it is so hard to learn a language as an adult. It is definitely something I wish I did when I was younger. But I finally gotten to the point where now all the books I can read at night are all in Spanish. So they're just kids' books. Like if you've ever read those, Who Was the one I'm reading right now? Who Was Leonardo da Vinci? And so they're like a kid series books meant for like youth, but I'm pretty excited because they're all in a different language. Okay, so I am going to put a couple more curls on this little guy here. Yay, Becca, I'm glad it's going good for you guys too. Yeah, this is the fun part. I'm just going to show you what my face is looking like so far here so you can see. So you can see I'm just sticking some little curls on him, and I've started to go on the side. He actually looks a little bit like, who's that guy for Halloween? Oh my gosh. Walks around like this, and he's got the things coming out the side of his neck. Oh, I can't think of him. You know who I mean. Anyway, hope your lambs are turning out well so far. So I'm going to show you, once you kind of get going, some other fun little things you could do to make him look more realistic. So most lambs have a little tail. I've never been good at a long curly tail, but I'll just take sometimes a little piece here like this. And you can kind of stick a little tail on him like this. And again, this stuff is so malleable. Frankenstein. That's who I was thinking of. He looks like Frankenstein with his little, he looks like Franken lamb here with his little thing sticking out. So there's a little tail for you. Yes, Frankenstein. Thank you. So you can see his little tail sticking out here. And so again, by the time you end up covering him with little curls, he's going to end up just with this cute little tail sticking out. Now lambs are usually more in a field. So we just grab some parsley out of the garden. And you'll see what you can do is, I'm going to turn him back around so he faces me. You could take the little, hi Kristen, it's my sister. Hi Austin and Emma. So you can see, you can take the little parsley and you can make like a little bed for him. Now I'll throw the parsley on here now. Honestly, it just, again, it all kind of helps him stick together when you pop him in the fridge. Let's throw a little bit more up front there. Plus, you know, another benefit of the parsley is when you put the parsley on like this, it's that much less curls you have to make. Because if you're like me, you're like, oh my gosh, this is taking a lot longer to curl this little lamb than I thought. My favorite part and what really brings him to life, I really should have gotten a towel for myself, is eyes. Now, we have peppercorns. Peppercorns make the best eyes. You can also use just really any kind of household thing. You might have cloves. We've seen folks use little cloves for eyes. One thing I will say is if you use peppercorns, the black ones work best. Don't use the red ones. It looks like a rabid lamb and it's really creepy looking. So stick with some black peppercorns. Let's see here. Wait till you see how cute he looks once we give him some eyeballs. These two are about the same size. Pepper all over my desk now. See, look at that. See, he ends up getting a perfect little face, little crooked face there. But see, I always feel like once you put his little eyes on him, he just totally comes to life. So I'm going to keep curling with you guys here. So yeah, one thing I wish you can do these videos where you can also share, because I would love to see how your guys' lambs are turning out. I'm going to ask all of you to please put your lambs, your photos in the comments when you are done so we can see how they turn out. So you've got fabric on mine. We've been sewing masks over here extensively. I think we're up to like 100 masks already. And I am just covered in little bits of fabric everywhere. But yeah, I was sharing with you guys earlier, this was something really neat. When I was growing up, we used to live, I live in San Diego now. We used to live on the East Coast. And we would always go to my grandparents' house for Easter. And my grandfather and grandmother would take us to their church. And there would be a little basket blessing on the side of the church. And so everybody would bring their baskets. And they would line all the baskets up on the table. And the priest would come out and bless all the baskets. And I remember seeing all these little lambs in the baskets. And I thought they were just like the coolest thing. And so it's been really fun for our family to continue that tradition. We are so fortunate that the parish I belong to, St. Thomas More here in Oceanside, we've been there forever as parishioners. There, our priest, Father Mike Radicek, is Polish as well, and so he has a lot of those same traditions, which is really special. And so, see, look at, I've got fabric on my butter. We are going to be eating fabric this Easter. A lot of the same traditions that we grew up with, Father Mike has as well. And it's just really fun to be able to do a lot of that. So unfortunately this will be our first year we don't get our basket blessed. But You know, it's just like Mass right now. It'll be a spiritual communion. It'll be a spiritual blessing for us. I think we'll still prep our basket. So one thing we'll be doing also this afternoon is using some of this unsalted butter to make paschal, which is a Polish Easter bread. And it's a really good bread. It's very eggy. You use actually a lot of egg yolks to make it. And it's very dense. And it turns out really good. I finally have gotten the braid down on it. The braid was always the hardest part for me, was getting that braid to look right. But we'll probably make a half batch this year. We usually so yesterday on Good Friday, we made hot cross buns, and we always usually take them out to our neighbors and stuff like that. And then same thing with the paschal bread. We make a bunch of it, and then we pass it out to all of our neighbors. But I think this year everyone's just being a little bit more careful. Even I don't think there's been any cases of the virus being passed through food, but we're just being extra careful anyway, and not really passing out too much food. Just being extra careful to keep our germs to ourselves. But we'll be doing that tomorrow with our Easter bread. Today, have you guys done your windows? I've been seeing this. We're going to do this today, where everyone is making stained glass windows on their house. So you just use painter's tape, and you can make a big cross in your window, and then the rays coming out with the painter's tape, and then you use finger paint. Which we have a couple bottles from my son was like 3 or 4. I have to see if they're dried out because they're probably 5 years old now. But we're going to finger paint our windows today and make some stained glass windows in our house, which I think will be really pretty for Easter. So that'll be a fun activity for us to do today too. And we usually dye our eggs today too on Holy Saturday. That's our egg one. Oh, yay! Teresa's going to make the tomb rolls. That's awesome. So if you guys haven't done that, that's a really fun activity. Teresa, I don't know if you make yours this way or not. We've done them once where we get the grocery store rolls, and then you put in, I don't remember the exact recipe. We've only done it 1 year. We got the grocery store rolls, and then we put in a marshmallow, and then you put them in the oven. And then when they bake, so you kind of take your marshmallow, and it's like Jesus, and then you anoint him in the oil, which is melted butter, and you put the spices on him, which is like the myrrh. So it's your marshmallow, so you anoint him, and then you dip him, and then you wrap him up in the tomb, which is the roll, and then you put the crescent roll in the oven, and then you say, okay, this is like Good Friday when they put Jesus in the tomb, and then Holy Saturdays when it's waiting, and then you bring it out and you say, now this is Easter, and when you open up the roll, there's nothing inside. And so it's a really neat activity for kids to teach them about the resurrection, how Jesus wasn't in the tomb anymore. And they're delicious. They're absolutely delicious. We made them, I think it was last year. Might have been 2 years ago. I can't remember. Actually, it wasn't last year because we were on our trip last year. So I'm going to show you how my little lamb here is turning out. And I hope yours are too. See? There you go. So you can see all those little messy curls. It just somehow works together. Looks like he's got a little schmutz on his eye there, huh? We might have to get a different peppercorn. Oh yeah, see, so that's how Teresa makes hers too. Yeah, those are some really neat Easter traditions. I don't know what else we're going to do this year. We usually have an Easter egg hunt, so we'll still do that. We've been watching Mass at night. It's funny, this is the longest monologue I've ever had. Yay, Kathy, you guys are making more than one. You'll have enough till Pentecost. Yes. I thought about that because in previous years, so I usually teach this class at our church over at St. Thomas, and I always have a demo lamb with me. And it was very cute because every year there's always this little old lady who, she's Polish as well, and she brings me one of those absolutely gorgeous hand-dyed eggs. We've never attempted them. They have a name. I'm not going to attempt to butcher the name of those eggs. But if you've ever seen those Polish eggs, it's where, they hard boil the egg, and then they can somehow blow the yolk and the white and everything out. And then the decoration on them is just unreal. It's definitely not Dudley's egg dipping by any stretch. And they look so, so good. So she always brings me an egg, and I trade her the sample lamb I bring. But yes, to your point, you are going to have enough butter forever with these guys. You can see I've even trimmed down my sticks, and we still have a lot. We still definitely have a lot here. I hope to see your guys's and see how they're turning out. You know, I'll have to ask you. I don't know if you can type, but I would love to hear what your guys' traditions are for the season. And always, what do you do to celebrate Easter? I know Easter's like a 50-day celebration. You know, so Divine Mercy is actually next Sunday. I actually just put a post up on the blog about this. So there's some really, really awesome artisans that have made just some gorgeous art for Divine Mercy Sunday. I actually just picked up a really pretty print. I would show it to you, but I am super, super buttery right now. But we are doing with some of my girlfriends. My friend Katie actually organized it's our first time doing a novena, which is crazy. It's funny. I've always known what they are and, you know, attempted to participate, but I've never lasted the full 9 days. So we're doing the Divine Mercy Chaplet. Every day at 3:00, we log onto her Zoom account, and all the kids and the moms and dads, because everybody is home right now, we're all doing the Divine Mercy Chaplet, which is just a beautiful way to celebrate Saint Faustina and just the gift of God's mercy. So I brought a really pretty print because I noticed yesterday on the Zoom meeting, everyone had their pretty pictures up of Divine Mercy, and I don't have one. Hi, Calais. It's good to see you. It's good to see you popping in. So you can see you can get kind of messy with your curls, and they will just continue to add on here, no problem. I'm trying to think what else I could tell you guys. Let's see here. But yeah, so Easter, so the 40 days of Easter, 50 days of Easter, actually. I am not very good about keeping our Easter decorations up. I am a minimalist and I don't like messes in my house. So we have a little tiny prayer space, and that's about it. My son went to Rosary Camp last year, and 2 years ago? 2 years ago, he went to Rosary Camp. It's actually got a different name. I don't remember what it's actually called. We call it Rosary Camp. It's a 3-day camp put on by some of the nuns, and they travel nationally, and it's a really neat thing that they do. He actually liked it because the church it was at was when the Chargers were still here in San Diego, and Philip Rivers used to go there. And so Philip Rivers' wife was involved with the church. And so my son, who's a Chargers fan because his dad is a Chargers fan, was always so excited because Mrs. Philip Rivers was there. That was like his highlight. And so when Mrs. Philip Rivers told the kids they had to have their own prayer space at home, he came home that day and he was like, "Mom, we have got to have a prayer space." So we set up a little prayer space table, and that's how we keep our decorations kind of contained to keep it together. Okay, so Kristen is painting paper egg garland at the grocery store. Yeah, because they're out of real eggs. Yes, it is. They're out of everything. You know, a lot of my friends homestead, and I'm always envious of that. So we traveled almost all of last year. We traveled for about 7 months last year. We just decided to peace out, and we rented our house out, and we bought a trailer, just a real cheap pool trailer, and we traveled the U.S. And it was just amazing to see things. And when we got back, we thought about trying to be a little bit more of a homesteader. And because a lot of my friends have chickens, and I love them, and I would love to do that. But honestly, when I really thought about it, I don't want to deal with chickens. But yes, it is hard to come by eggs and come by butter. Yes, I totally agree, Becca. It is way, way, way easier to use the garlic press. I have an egg, or not an egg. What are those called? Like a juice squeezer? You know, like the kind where you put like the lemons and the limes in. I gave that a try earlier, but I think because it's meant to have the huge, like half an orange in there, it definitely did not work at all with the butter. It just made that a greasy mess too. Oh, Teresa's painting wooden eggs. Yeah, that's really smart. And what's nice about the wooden eggs is you can keep those year over year and kind of have a way to keep all your little kids' gifts. You know, Adam, so we do a hybrid homeschool right now. So we're over at a school here where the kids go to school a couple days a week and then they do a couple days at home. I actually love it. It's the perfect mix for me because when we were traveling last year, we kind of fell in love with homeschooling. No, again, it was different because we were on the road. But when we got back, my son asked if we can just continue it. And so we found this school that has this hybrid program, and it's the perfect mix because I don't have to cook up any of the curriculum at all. The teachers give it to us. We still, like I said, he's still in school a couple days a week, and then a couple days a week he's home. And I'm just so happy with it. But the previous years, we had been over at St. Mary's, which is just this beautiful little old parish. I think it's probably my favorite, like, appearance-wise church because it looks like a little old East Coast church where I grew up, and it just gives me those, like, warm fuzzies. And so we were there for preschool for many years and for kindergarten. And so I love pulling out all those little mementos from kindergarten. Teresa, I'm tying this back into your wooden eggs. This is my long monologue here. I love pulling out those little mementos and just, seeing all those things that your kids make year over year. Lori, yes, your butter lamb is in the fridge. They will melt in Florida. We spent on our trip last year, we spent a good month in Florida. I had no idea how big Florida is. Part of that is because we came from the west to the east. So we came across the Panhandle, which was absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. I had never seen the Gulf coasts before. And I couldn't believe how big the seashells were. I mean, the seashells were like the size of my hand. And they were whole. We had so much fun going shelling there. But then we spent probably a good month coming across the Panhandle, going down one side through Appalachia, going across the bottom, and then back up. And my husband is he's a surfer. And since he couldn't surf, he got into mountain biking. And so there's some really good mountain biking in Florida. So we spent a lot of time there just checking everything out. Laura, I see your comment that you can. I don't know what you can't. If you have a question, totally feel free to ask. But I hope your guys' lambs are going good. Oh, this is so sad. So you guys can't see my phone, but it just popped up that we have our Easter basket blessing in 28 minutes at the church, which clearly we don't. So we should have tried to see if we can get Father Mike on here live from his house. So he can, so he would be able to bless our lambs for us. It's always cute after we make all of our lambs. Everyone brings their lambs into the church. And Father Mike blesses them. And so it's really cute because everyone's got their little lambs on their little plates like this. And he's got his holy water and he's blessing all of our lambs for us. So, we've got some holy water here at the house, but it's the same bottle we've had for years. And I don't want to sprinkle that on the food I'm going to eat. Somehow I don't. A little more aware of pathogens now, I think, than I used to be. Let's see here. Oh, Laura, you're in Fort Myers. We did go there. There were so many cool places there. We finished up our trip in, we had to cut it short. We just ran into some medical issues. So we cut the trip a little short, but we ended up in, how far north did we get? I don't know. We got through the Carolinas, and that was really pretty. We definitely enjoyed going through there. My favorite place on the trip was, I loved Oklahoma. And I know that probably sounds crazy, but I have never seen such wide open space. I have like this just moment of when we were on the trip of, we were in Oklahoma and we went to go see the Great Plains. And so we're driving on the Great Plains. And this was just one of those like picturesque moments. The grasses were sky high. We're driving on this dirt road. And it's the first time, actually the only time really, that I've ever been able to see no signs of humans anywhere except for the truck we were in. If you get out of the truck and you look around 360 degrees, there's no power plants, there's no buildings, there's nothing. And it is just so beautiful. Okay, so Anna, you're new. Yay. Okay, so Anna, we've been working on making a butter lamb. We are about 35 minutes in right now. So what we've been doing is, I'll hold my little guy up here. You can see how he's turning out. I must have a signature form to my curlies because my lambs look the same year over year. But what you can do is there are, I think you can watch this from the beginning. So you can start over and watch from start to finish. There's also instructions in the live section. So if you go to the event, I put a link in there to the blog post where you can actually see the pictures on step-by-step on how to make your little butter lamb for your Easter table. So I am just about done with my curlies. How are you guys doing with yours? You guys almost finished? My curlies are sometimes zigzags. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with how they're turning out. So there's your little lamb. There's my little lamb. I hope your guys' are turning out well too. Yay, Teresa finished. You'll have to share a photo with how he turns out. I hope your guys' lambs are turning out well too. I hope you guys have an absolutely wonderful Holy Saturday. I hope whatever traditions your family has, you are still able to mostly continue. I hope you can find some really neat churches to travel to virtually. We've been traveling everywhere. We went to Texas yesterday for Mass for Holy Saturday. Oh yay, Kathy's in Georgia. We went to like I said, Texas yesterday for Mass. It's really, really nice to experience some different parishes. Bishop Barron had a really good homily yesterday for Good Friday. Let's see, who else did we listen to yesterday? We just listened to some homilies last night. My husband and I did. Let's see, who else? Oh, Father Mike. Father Mike has a really good, our Father Mike had a really good homily at St. Thomas More here in Oceanside. We listened to that one. And Father Mike Schmitz. I don't remember which college he's tied to. Maybe in Michigan. But if you just Google Father Mike Schmitz Good Friday, he has a really phenomenal homily for yesterday too. Hey, Pittsburgh. So we have family in Pennsylvania as well. So yay for Pennsylvania being here. But yeah, I hope you guys have a really good Easter. I hope you have a really good rest of your weekend. And we will definitely be in touch. So if you are interested in doing anything besides butter, yay, Laura, I'm so glad you can watch this from the beginning. If you guys are interested in doing things besides butter, I'll be back Monday, Wednesday, and Friday of this coming week with quilting classes. So there's a big quilting show coming up next week virtually since Quilt Market and everything else was canceled. So on Monday, I'll be doing at 11 o'clock Pacific time, 2 o'clock Eastern time. We'll be back with, I think Monday we're doing a tour of the quilting studio. On Wednesday, we'll be sharing some of our favorite quilting notions. On Friday, I'm going to show you guys how to paper piece, foundation paper piece, which is my favorite way to sew. So hopefully we'll see you guys again. And I hope you guys have a blessed Easter too. We'll talk to you soon. Goodbye.